everywhere. But today, Zionism is no longer as powerful as it was in America. It's being questioned everywhere and attacked all the time. It's weaker today than it was then. I remember in our African community, they even formed a committee called, Blacks in Support of Israel Committee, BASIC. Andrew Young was a member of it. Oh yes, all of them. The names are there. History doesn't cover anything. In the African community, even now when we spoke against Zionism, they put others to confuse us. Even Martin Luther King himself was confused on this issue. When we attacked Israel, he said any attack on Israel, this is a quote, any attack on Israel, no matter how you camouflage it, is an attack on Semitism, is anti-Semitic.
The whole world must see that Israel must exist and has a right to exist and is one of the great outposts of democracy in the world.
Those of us who truly are against Zionism have a double fight here. Not just a fight against Zionism by all means necessary, but also a fight against those who are intolerant of Judaism. A true way to undermine the force that Zionists have in the Jewish communities throughout the world is to ensure the tolerance of the religion of Judaism and use force where necessary to ensure this tolerance.
So, at the heart of the Christian faith is God taking upon God's self the suffering of the victim. When you see a lynched black body, that's who God is.
There's a lot there. This is kind of complex because Jesus did identify with the victims, but Jesus was not a victim. He was a conqueror. The death of Jesus Christ is a moment of victory, as is the resurrection. See, this is the main difference here. Victims as opposed to messiahs, conquerors. Victims or conquerors. Jesus conquered death. He wasn't victimized. He chose to give his life. He did have a choice. If he was a victim, and this theology was true, then Jesus would have come back from the dead and made the Jews pay for what they did. Then Jesus would have come back from the dead and made the Jews pay for what they did.
Of course, Zionism tries to hook Judaism together, making them one and the same. This is to help them.
Well, with the help of the Almighty, pray to the Almighty to bestow upon me His wisdom, His truth. I should be able to give His message with truth and therefore bring peace to the world, sanctify His name. You can't, let's just say a metaphor, you'll steal from a bank, you'll steal the money, and then you'll say, look, we know that the people are not going to return the money, so let's try to figure out a peaceful way that everybody will be happy. We'll split the money between the thieves and the ones who were stolen from. It doesn't, so you're starting that we should the Jewish people, there's strife and something amongst these people, and therefore so we have to work out a way that it should come together in peace. It doesn't work that way. There are people who have basically hijacked the identity of Judaism. They're rebelling, as my colleague said, they're rebelling against the Almighty. in many facets, in every facet of Zionism, by stealing the land from another people. Judaism is religion, subservience to God, and you're not allowed to kill, you're not allowed to steal. There's a group of people in the name of our religion have blatantly stolen the land, and they're killing people, and they've taken the home away from and the identity from the Palestinian people. They're searching for a way that they should be able to continue this this rogue state, the state that was created by stealing the land from another people. They've created a rift between the Jews and the Muslims by claiming that it is a religious issue, it is a religious type of conflict, that it's an ingrained hate from Muslims to Jews, basing the fact of the animosity on a claim that it's because the Muslims have an ingrained hate to us, and that for years they've always had a hate, while history, of course, attests to the contrary, that Jews have been living and flourishing as Jewish religious communities in almost every Muslim land, and it was a safe haven when Jews were being persecuted by the church, whether it was by the Crusades or the Inquisition or by Second World War. So I'm not saying there were never any bumps in the road, but the Muslim communities, the Muslim countries, were never an impediment for Jewish people to be able to flourish as a religious people. So it's not the religion. That's clear that it's not the religion. So there's something else that is causing this conflict, this mistrust, this rift that has been driven between us, which has occurred only for around 100 years. In other words, this issue of a conflict, of this endless river of bloodshed, has happened since something new which has come about, and that is the advent of Zionism.
The Jews must come to understand that this is their fight.
The Western public, and the Jewish communities in particular, are led to believe that the West Bank is a peaceful region where the Palestine Authority has accepted the rule of the Zionist military occupation.
The majority of the Jewish people in North America, Canada, and the United States do not want the occupation. Israel does not speak for us. The settlers, they do not speak for us. We speak for ourselves. We, the Jewish people, say stop the occupation.
Thus, Jews have a responsibility here, and we want to let it be known that there are many Jews who are anti-Zionist, many, even here in America. And they write some very good books, excellent books. So Jews cannot confuse us and say all Jews are Zionists. No, even the Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn, they say a Zionist can never be a Jew, and a Jew can never be a Zionist, and they're correct.
We are the Jewish people, the Jewish nation. Our homeland is our Torah, our Holy Bible. The State of Israel has declared their intention to take the Torah scholars, our most valuable national treasure, to take them out of the study halls, to change their mindset from 2,000-year-old traditional Jewish religious mindset.
Oh, Egypt is Africa, Jack. You touch that, you touch me.
he's describing what the goal of Zionism is. Our starting point is to take a typical Yid of today and to imagine his diametrical opposite. Traditionally, the Jewish people are a religion. To the Zionists, as Ben-Gurion believed, religion is the national tragedy of the Jewish people.
That's in the Talmud in Brachot. Meir Kahane didn't make that up. That's in the Talmud that Mort's great-grandparents once studied. There was a Jew named Pinchas, Phineas, to all the Baptists sitting here. And Pinchas, in a moment of zealotry, went out and killed a Jew and non-Jew for various reasons, which I'm not going to go into. Now it is necessary. You can check it out in the book of Numbers, chapter 24 and 25. And the rabbis say the following, that he who sheds the blood of the wicked, kol hashofech damo shel rishayim, ki'ilu hikriv korban. One who sheds the blood of the wicked, it is as if he has brought a sacrifice to God. I didn't write that. That's in the Talmud. Now you can burn one's local Talmud. I don't care about that. But don't babble about Jewish values when you would know one, if you saw one.
Those of us who truly are against Zionism have a double fight here. Not just a fight against Zionism by all means necessary, but also a fight against those who are intolerant of Judaism. A true way to undermine the force that Zionists have in the Jewish communities throughout the world is to ensure the tolerance of the religion of Judaism and use force where necessary to ensure this tolerance.
They teach them about Jewish heroes. Their Jewish heroes were our Jewish villains. Bar Kokhba, the person who led a rebellion against the Romans, we call him Bar Koziva, the big fraud. To them, he's a national hero. Never mind, Bar Kokhba lost. It was a bloody disaster. Besides the Holocaust, it was the largest bloodbath. We will not allow our children to go like sheep to the slaughter from the yeshiva to their indoctrination camp. We're not going to let them brainwash us and change the education of our children.
That's in the Talmud in Brachot. Meir Kahane didn't make that up. That's in the Talmud that Mort's great-grandparents once studied. There was a Jew named Pinchas, Phineas, to all the Baptists sitting here. And Pinchas, in a moment of zealotry, went out and killed a Jew and non-Jew for various reasons, which I'm not going to go into. Now it is necessary. You can check it out in the book of Numbers, chapter 24 and 25. And the rabbis say the following, that he who sheds the blood of the wicked, kol hashofech damo shel rishayim, ki'ilu hikriv korban. One who sheds the blood of the wicked, it is as if he has brought a sacrifice to God. I didn't write that. That's in the Talmud. Now you can burn one's local Talmud. I don't care about that. But don't babble about Jewish values when you would know one if you saw one.
The Jewish nation was intact, and yes, we were battered, and yes, we were bruised during the 2,000 years that we existed in exile. But on one hand, everybody is wondering, how in the world did the Jews survive? There's no other nation that could survive in exile 2,000 years. Remember, we didn't have an army. We didn't have a state. And we survived, and our Talmud tells us the secret. It's because of our Torah, because of our religion, and it tells us that one of the reasons we survive is because we don't have a state.
Everywhere but today, Zionism is no longer as powerful as it was in America. It's being questioned everywhere and attacked all the time. It's weaker today than it was then. I remember in our African community, they even formed a committee called, Blacks in Support of Israel Committee, BASIC. Andrew Young was a member of it. Oh yes, all of them. The names are there. History doesn't cover anything. In the African community, even now when we spoke against Zionism, they put others to confuse us. Even Martin Luther King himself was confused on this issue. When we attacked Israel, he said any attack on Israel, this is a quote, any attack on Israel, no matter how you camouflage it, is an attack on Semitism, is anti-Semitic.
The whole world must see that Israel must exist and has a right to exist and is one of the great outposts of democracy in the world.
Oh, Egypt is Africa, Jack. You touch that, you touch me.
Those of us who share your struggle for human rights and against apartheid have been somewhat disappointed by the models of human rights that you have held up since being released in jail. You've met over the last 6 months 3 times with Yasser Arafat. Are these your models of leaders of human rights? And if so, would you want a Gaddafi or an Arafat or a Castro to be a future president of South Africa?
One of the mistakes which some political analysts make is to think that their enemies should be our enemies. Our attitude towards any country is determined by the attitude of that country to our struggle. Yasser Arafat Colonel Gaddafi, Fidel Castro support our struggle to the hilt. They do not support it only in rhetoric. They are placing resources at our disposal for us to win the struggle. That is the position. As far as Yasser Arafat is concerned, I explained to Mr. Sigmund that we identify with the PLO because just like ourselves, they are fighting for the right of self-determination.
Mr. Mandela. Thank you, Madam.
As far as the Jewish question to begin with, I have had discussions at my own initiative with prominent Jewish leaders to straighten out this affair. Amongst the people I saw was Mrs. Helen Suzman, who has been an MP in our country for more than 30 years. There was Mr. Mazens, who has been a judge in Lesotho, Botswana, and the old Rhodesia. There was the chief rabbi of Johannesburg. There was Professor Katz from the University of Witwatersrand, and an eminent community leader in South Africa. We discussed this question and all misunderstanding was clear, the question of Yasser Arafat and the PLO. I have also discussed the question with the Jewish leaders in the USA and very top people like Mr. Sigmund. We reached an agreement on this question and we saw eye to eye. Now, I don't know where your concern arises. The Jewish leaders themselves are able to determine their own affairs. Nobody else is entitled to say that the Jewish leaders are going to be concerned about your stand.
And don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power. And I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
I want you to know that I want you to say, if you ever think about me, and if you think about me, niggas, and if you ain't gonna do no revolutionary act, forget about me. I don't want myself on your mind if you're not gonna work for the people. Like we always said, if you actually make a commitment at the age of 20, and you say, I don't want to make that commitment, only because of the simple reason that I'm too young to die, I want to live a little bit longer, what you did, you did already. You have to understand, The people have to pay the price for peace. If you dare to struggle, you dare to win. If you dare not to struggle, then goddamn it, you don't deserve to win. Let me say peace to you if you're willing to fight for it. Let me say it in the spirit of liberation. I've been gone for a little while. At least my body's been gone. You ain't got to repeat after me. At least my body's been gone for a little while. But I'm back now, and I believe that I'm back to stay. I believe that I'm going to do my job, and I believe that I was born not to die in a car wreck. I don't believe I'm going to die in a car wreck. I don't believe I'm going to die from slipping on a piece of ice. I don't believe I'm going to die because I got a bad heart. I don't believe I'm going to die because of lung cancer. I believe that I'm going to be able to die in the thing that I was born for. I believe that I'm going to be able to die high off the people. I believe that I will be able to die as a revolutionary in the international revolutionary proletarian struggle. And I hope that each one of you will be able to die in the international proletarian revolutionary struggle, even be able to live in it. And I think that struggle is going to come. Why don't you live for the people? Why don't you struggle for the people? Why don't you die for the people?